People always ask me, Tristan, how's it going? You talked about the social media issues for so long.
How do you sleep at night?
How do you sleep at night? I have this other narrative I've kind of developed because it's depressing to answer the other way. So I live in this other world where we completely solved all these problems. So what happened? I shut down the Center for Humane Technology because we actually completely solved all these problems. Humanity woke up. We realized with social media, there was just this very obvious problem, which is an arms race for attention and the maximized shareholder value connected to monetizing attention. Once we realized that problem, we just changed the ownership structure of these social media companies to be public benefit corporations. Then we changed the business model to not be maximizing attention. So now all these companies were instead trying to improve the health of society rather than the other way around. It turned out there was a simple rule that changed all the issues with technology and kids, which is after this lawsuit, Silicon Valley was only allowed to ship products that their own children used for 8 hours a day. That cleaned up 90% of all of the problems. We replaced the division-finding algorithms of social media with instead ones that rewarded unlikely consensus, so that instead of scrolling and seeing infinite examples that make you feel depressed about the state of the world, you saw infinite examples of where there was unlikely agreement between all these political tribes. So suddenly the psychology of the world started to change. We replaced the dating, swiping industrial complex that was leaving people lonely and messaging people and never meeting up to instead, as part of this lawsuit, forcing those dating app companies to host weekly events in every city so that every city, every week had spaces, physical spaces that you would go to where they steered all these people who matched with each other to be in the same room together. So the world went from feeling scarcity around human connection to a feeling of abundance. And when people were in healthy relationships, polarization went down by about 30%, because it turned out that so much of the polarization online was just people feeling lonely and disconnected. So I could go on for another hour about all the things that we
Love
did.
that. This all sounds so great. And so, okay, so you've just laid out this beautiful world where there's human connection and there's abundance and we're not as depressed and we're not as anxious.
And it was so obvious because it wasn't even hard to do.